Hi guys, welcome to Luna. This is our sixth podcast. Today we're here with Mr. Swanson.
Hello, happy to be here.
Yeah, and with Monse.
Hi.
Because Fed is busy editing because we can't edit, so we're here with Mr. Swanson.
But it's gonna be great.
Yeah. So, hi, Mister. How are you today?
Doing wonderful. Happy to be making this recording with you about mental health.
Yes, it is about mental health. So, Mister, we have a couple questions for you. You can answer them however you want. You could be like, no, I don't want to answer this, or yes. So take it away, girl.
The first question would be, how can we improve mental health awareness at school?
Yeah, it's a good one, and everyone has a different part to play in the symphony, right? When I hear we, I really like the we in the question, right? Because there's students, teachers, administrators, counselors. There's all those different people, but generally from everyone's part, I think working to destigmatize it, to acknowledge the statistics that are out there. Like, again, the American School Counselors Association says 1 in 5 students need mental health support. They also say that of those 1 in 5 that need it, very few get it. So anyway, if I'm a counselor, it's going to be individually supporting students that really need it, triaging maybe some of the most difficult cases, arranging external support. If I'm a student, that's going to be probably supporting my peers when I see them really struggling with not making a team or losing a game or getting an F or bombing a test or something crazy at home, which could be any of a million different things. And if I'm an administrator like me, it's making a space for counselors to do their part, to communicate with students, to have the house be used, to align with some classes where it fits. It's a lot. Everyone's got a piece to play.
Yeah.
That was a lot of stuff, but
yeah, I understand that it's a complicated balance, but I feel like the school does a good job prioritizing our mental health. Sometimes no, but I understand that it's not always you can't just stop classes for stress. Yeah. ¿Quieres decir algo más?
No, I agree with him, por eso no dije nada.
Okay. Dale.
How can you improve helping students?
How can I help improve helping students? So yeah, on an individual case-to-case basis, frequently that is reaffirming to individual teachers that yes, there is something significant going on in a student's life, and we need to do ... Because sometimes teachers just don't know. So this is a very specific answer, but it's a very real answer because it's very frequent.
Yeah.
Where frequently a teacher just doesn't know what's going on with a particular kid. And maybe the counselor knows, or maybe an administrator knows, and then they don't divulge those details, but they just say, hey, this is a code red situation or a really important situation, and we need a little bit of grace for this child to do this assignment, whether it's more time or another attempt or in a different way or at a different time. So that's one way. That's specifically happening a lot. I work with Stephanie a lot to think about what ideas can be incorporated into house. That's another one. All the time talking to Yolanda and Elizabeth. But those would be some things that I'm doing right now to try to push this issue. Sometimes it can be giving all staff reminders too, hey, we got too many kids failing, y'all. Take your feet off the gas. Sometimes that happens.
Physics.
But yeah, stuff like that. Generally.
Yeah, it's true.
It is true.
I mean, sometimes for us students, it's hard to express our feelings, especially because we feel that we're not going to be heard, or there's not going to be
repercussions.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're scared that if we do express our feelings, it's going to be there's going to be repercussions towards us as a whole class, and also as individuals. That's why I think we mostly suffer in silence. Especially in really hard classes like physics and math, which we are doing terrible at, pero bueno. That's our bad at this point.
In all honesty, do you think academics is more important than mental health?
Well, definitely the answer to that is no, but it's like a balancing act. I mean, if you have to say one is more important, I mean, you need to be right as like a person first, thinking about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like your basic needs, like physical comfort and like psychological security are like the most important things. You're not going to be able to learn, like, what are you learning right now in physics? What is it called, the thing that you're learning?
¿Qué estamos aprendiendo en physics?
Mr.
Did I put you on the spot? I
don't know.
Like, whatever the concept is, like velocity or like
velocity, distance,
sure.
displacement.
Kinematics. Yeah. So, like, it's going to be really hard to learn kinematics, if you're, like, just really struggling with, like, crippling anxiety, for example, or you have, like, an eating disorder, or you have, like, any number of, like, other problems, like a substance problem. Like, it's going to be really hard to think about kinematics. So, at some point, like, mental health has to come first. But for most students, most of the time, it's more of a balancing act. It's not like you have to pick one or the other, at least on a grandiose scale. I think when we had this conversation before, the micro example that I gave is like, okay, like, am I going to stay awake one more hour to try to raise this assignment that I'm going to turn in from like a C to an A?
Yeah.
And like, that's like the micro choice. And it's like, well, like, it's not always one way or the other. Like, sometimes you might sacrifice the hour, other times it might be like, no. And that's where you as an individual, I think, get to navigate those smaller cases.
Yeah, sometimes, like, personally, I struggle because especially with physics and math, I'm always like, okay, let's do the classwork. And I try to get it, but then there's a point that I'm like, am I choosing my mental health or
am I using I don't think it's not
because I'm using all my energy and my responsibility to do this work and I'm not getting it, which makes me sad and frustrated and gives me anxiety. And then at the same time, I want to pass the class. Like right now I have a 58 because I haven't done the classworks. But I chose my mental sanity.
We are sacrificing sanity.
For the last question, what do you recommend students and teachers to do when dealing with stress or just like in general, like sadness, depression, etc.?
What would I recommend that they do? I think the first would be to know that they're not in it alone, to identify people that will support them of any type, whether it's like friends, whether it's parents, whether it's teachers, counselors, maybe they work with someone externally. So to access those supports, say how you feel. Somebody of all those people should be able to like listen. I would hope, and then when talking with that person, try to identify some like action steps that you can take that are gonna make you feel better. So I think that would be the most important thing, to realize that you're not in it alone. That this too, in English, the famous saying is, "This too will pass." Like if something's really bad right now, know that like you're might not even remember it.
Yeah. I think it's really important that we remember that like everyone struggles, and it's okay. You don't have to do it like in silence. Like there's people to listen, and there's people that are willing to help you. So you always need to like try to reach out, maybe like a friend or like a trusted adult, and that way it'll be better for us in school. I think it'd be good for us students to like reach out to our friends and to like the counselor, because Miss Elizabeth is really nice and she doesn't judge. She's just there to listen. And if you like just trust like a teacher, then talk to that teacher that you trust.
Yeah, there's like many teachers like in the school campus that are helpful, even middle school teachers that we've known for basically a long time now. Lives. So it's like very nice to see them, and like sometimes they remember things you struggled with in middle school, and they're like, oh, how are you doing with this? Or yeah, so it's like important. And even Mr. O'Brien, he keeps like he keeps with us still when he's not even like in high school now. But it's nice having like a community where teachers and students like join.
It's like nice to know that you're like an actual person and not like necessarily like a number or whatever.
Not just a line in the grade book.
And even though we don't get to hang out with certain students or teachers, we see that connection, like that feeling that they would help, even though we're not friends. Like if someone is crying, we've noticed that like
facts.
Natty and I like stop to ask that person, "Are you okay?" Or that
Mhm.
person stops to ask
Like us,
another
if we're
student
okay.
or us if we're okay. So we see that, and that makes like the community very nice and comfy.
It's kindness.
Yeah, kindness.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's
fun.
the eagle way.
Nice!
Okay. Jesus. Okay.
Okay, that was cringe, but
Yeah. So thank you, Mister, for having us and doing this with us again.
Yeah.
Because this is our second time doing this.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for asking. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
And if you want to like check out the other podcasts, they're in our website, which is very nicely crafted.
Mhm.
So thank you, Mister.
Yep.
And thank you guys for listening. And we'll see you next time on Luna. Bye.
thank you.